Coach, obviously we knew coming into this season it was going to be different when it comes to scheduling, and obviously you've discovered that before the season even begins. Just talk about what these last couple of days have been like for you and your staff, trying to scramble and figure out when your season's opener is going to happen and then moving games around.
Yeah, good to see you, Adam. Just really thankful to be kicking the season off this week. We knew going in there are going to be some changes to the schedule as we go along, so not really getting too concerned with that. Just trying to work through as many contingencies as we can. Our players have worked so hard since we started back in middle of August that I know they're excited about the opportunity to play this season. So we're going to do everything in our power to continue to put together a full schedule. And to give our players the opportunity to play this season, give our great fans the opportunity to watch our team and continue to support our team. So, a lot of time on the phone, Adam. We've done a lot of the work on the front end with various schools, just trying to have as many options available as possible so that we get to play.
Hey, Coach, with your with the schedule every year before this one being set in stone at the beginning of every year, of course, how does your weekly approach to practice go when you have the possibility of playing somebody completely different or not at all or whatever? Are you approaching practice every week differently?
Yeah, Steve, nothing changes for us. I know Adam always gets a chuckle because we fire off a few cliches that we are very committed to in our program. And so we have really let our players know from day one there'll be changes to the season. We're going to stay focused on building our team. We missed out on a lot of time. We missed the entire summer. We're trying to create great chemistry within our program as we combine last year's 6 returning players with our 2 redshirt players and then 5 newcomers. So for us, practice doesn't change. We get in there and we get to work. We try to build our program and our team the same way every year with our foundation, the core values that we believe in. And then from a basketball standpoint, I just really feel it's going to be critical to our team that it starts with defense and rebounding. And then we have to, I know I talked about it at Media Day, but we have to really grow the leadership of our team for us to be the best team we're capable of being this year. And that's where we put all our focus. We don't spend any time talking about schedule changes or anything like that. We're just thankful for the opportunity. Talked to our players yesterday. I don't want them ever to take a single practice for granted. It's a privilege every time we get to put that Murray State practice gear on and get out on the floor and get better. So that's where we keep our focus.
Coach, 2 weeks ago, obviously the team would have loved to have been inducting Billy Kennedy, Cameron Payne, and having a big CFSB Center full of fans for a Hall of Fame induction and things like that. Now Billy is going to be on the sidelines as announced this past weekend with Wichita State. What have you exchanged any messages with Billy, or if you have or haven't, what would you say to Coach right now as a former racer joining Wichita State right now?
Well, I was thrilled to see him back on the bench this season. I think it's great for college basketball. I never had the opportunity to work for Coach Kennedy, but have met him through our connection here at Murray State. And then, getting the opportunity to work for Coach Prohm, have obviously heard nothing but incredible things about Coach Kennedy. So I think it's great for college basketball when you have men of character who are committed to impacting their players on and off the court on the coaching side of things. And that's one thing I'm really fortunate here. That's how we've tried to build our coaching staff with great men first, with great leaders and mentors of young people. And then the coaching kind of goes from there. But I think it's also a great thing for Wichita State to have such a proven, successful coach on and off the court like Billy Kennedy.
Coach, how quickly were you able to schedule that extra game with Kentucky Wesleyan on Friday night? And how much does this maybe provide a little bit of opportunity for your team to kind of simulate what it's like in a tournament setting where you have to play in back-to-back days? And I know in a regular season that's different, but either when you're in a tournament setting or the OVC tournament, that's what you're going to get.
Well, we're excited that it was able to work out. It was a contingency plan. We had been in discussions with Coach Cooper at Kentucky Wesleyan to where if there were any cancellations due to the way testing works, that it makes sense to play the same team on back-to-back days. It guarantees you, as long as everything goes smoothly, guarantees you the opportunity to get 2 games in. And I think for every team in the country, it's the same. You know, our guys are probably at that point now where they're tired of playing against each other every single day. They're ready to compete against other people. They're ready to put their game uniforms on. And so we're really hopeful we'll get to do that on both Friday and Saturday night. And I think that's a good point you make, Adam. It's not something we've focused in on. We're just trying to get games right now, but it does simulate that Friday, Saturday, back-to-back type of situation you could find yourself in an OVC tournament setting. So I think it'll be good for us. You know, we're nowhere near having rotation set and things like that. So we're just excited to get everyone in a Murray State jersey and playing against other people, get to try different combinations, get multiple guys experience on the floor.
Coach, this is the first time in a while where local media and yourself, we're not talking about a recruiting class. We're not talking about the new and incoming blood that you're so excited about, and your program's been working really, really hard to drum up. How are you and your staff, obviously you're focused on starting a season unprecedented, but how are you and your staff focusing on the possibility of a recruiting class, whatever it may be, for the 2021-22 season?
Yeah, again, I know there's some outside distractions and some unknowns there to the recruiting circumstances, but just like with our team, we're going about business as usual. I mean, we're going to do it safely, but we're going about business as usual when it comes to recruiting. We recruit every day. We're pursuing multiple positions. We recruit multiple classes of players. And there are those unknowns. We'll see how everything plays out. We just happen to be in this very unique circumstance in a situation where we only have one senior. And so it enables us the opportunity to evaluate our team through the season and see how things play out as we look to the spring. And then also, you know, to really focus hard on that class of 2022 as we move forward.
Has anybody in the freshman class stood out so far above the others?
Yeah, they've all been great. I hate singling guys out in that regard. I think when you look at that freshman class, we have the 4 incoming guys, Deontay Bostic, Jaquez Kirby, Nick McMullen, Jackson Civils, and I think all have done great things. I've said it before. I do think they're at a disadvantage, unlike any freshman class in recent memory, because they weren't able to go through the summer workout program to make that adjustment to college basketball quicker. And then you also add in Matt Smith, who was out last year with a knee injury, and he's back. So we have a 5-man freshman class. I'm excited about all 5 and look forward to seeing them out on the floor here soon.
With that being said, Coach, and you kind of elaborated on it a second ago, but do you foresee a lot of these freshmen getting more playing time in these early games than you may have done in years past because you're just not sure what you've seen from these guys yet because you haven't had as much time as you normally get?
I hope so, Adam. We'd like to get the opportunity to play as many guys as we can. But as I say all the time, you know, the players are going to determine who's out there on the floor. They determine that by how they practice, their commitment to the team, ultimately their production and their ability to impact winning. And, you know, with bottom line, we have 14 players It's hard to play 14 guys. If you look historically at our teams, we usually play around 8 or 9. I'd like to get as many guys a look as we can, especially here early in the year. But I'm certainly in no position to predict who's going to play this many number of minutes. We still have, our practices, I should say, are designed to be very competitive. I enjoy that about our team. I think determining the best rotations is challenging when you have very talented players, which I think we do. And so, we've had the opportunity to watch them play and practice multiple times. We go back and study the film. We stat everything in practice that we think impacts winning, and we try to go through that collection of data and make the best decisions we can. One thing I think you've seen, Adam, if you look at our team over the last few years, whatever that rotation is on opening night doesn't necessarily mean that's what it's going to be for the rest of the year. We've had last year, Damon Robinson did not plays, had DNPs early in the season and ended up being a starting 5-man. KJ Williams came off the bench and ended up being first team All-League. 3 years ago, Devin Gilmore was the 6th post player in our rotation in November, December, and ended up being the 6th man on the team by the end of the year. So I think roles and playing time and so forth are always available for players to increase or decrease how much impact they have on the team based on how they practice and how they work on a daily basis.
Coach, there's a couple familiar faces with Kentucky Wesleyan. Obviously, with Zach Hopewell being part of that, as he's part of their roster this year. But from a scouting standpoint, from a preparation standpoint, and having to play them in back-to-back nights, what can you tell us about Kentucky Wesleyan and what you expect to see out of their program over those 2 days?
Well, number one, really excited to see Zach Hopewell come back for these games this weekend. Really enjoyed coaching him. He was a member of our 2018 regular season and OVC tournament championship team. I know the players that were a part of that team are looking forward to seeing him. He was loved in our locker room and did a great job of contributing to that team's success. So looking forward to seeing Zach. They have 6 Division I transfers, so we know they'll have a talented squad. But more importantly for us, and it's no different than any other year, we're going to focus on Murray State, doing the things we feel we need to do to be successful and to keep getting better. And I think this year probably more so than any years past, scouting, I could be wrong on this. I don't know that it's going to have as big an impact this year because I think you have to really focus in on your team. The schedule's going to change day to day. So that's where we'll just stay focused on having the best Murray State team we can out there on the floor.
Coach, I have to ask, last week, a really terrible day at UT Martin with the loss of Coach Stewart. Just if you could maybe share some interactions you had with him over the last several years and your thoughts on the Martin program as they deal with, that terrible tragedy.
Right. Well, I said it last week, and obviously all of our thoughts are with his son Parker, his wife, and the rest of their family. Just heartbreaking, devastating, really hard to put into words. Someone like Coach Stewart at age 50, great family, having the opportunity of a lifetime to coach his son. You just can't imagine the heartbreak. But interesting thing with Coach Stewart, I've never once in all our time together in the league, never once talked to him about basketball. That's something that always stood out to me about him. He took a different path to get into the coaching, starting off as an entrepreneur in the business world, and eventually found his passion in coaching. But all our conversations always focused on character development of your program, growing young men to be successful when they leave your program, and that always really stood out to me in our time together in the OVC, both when he was an assistant and then most recently as the head coach.